A history for the people, how traditions, traumas, and positive change was taught through dance and music, commemorating the lives of Katherine Dunham and Bob Marley. Two great artists and activists of our time that shared the deep culture of the African diaspora through healing, evoking, celebrating, and teaching. Bob Marley's music was a verbal history book which educated all people, from the illiterate man learning about aspects of his own history and wanting to become politically active, to people oceans away who had never thought about Jamaica until now. His music acted as a political weapon, giving consciousness and unity to the people of his beloved Jamaica while raising awareness of the strife, exploitation, and neglect that was going on there to people overseas. He did this through his great international fame and through songs such as Trenchtown Rock. Despite his great success, he always stayed altruistic, having free concerts in Jamaica to create unity and soothe tensions of political disagreements, as well as bringing his wealth back to Jamaica through free food and music. He even performed after being shot, since his love for the Jamaican people surmounted his own well-being. His message of liberation and equality was so powerful that his music was censored in apartheid South Africa, as the CIA deemed him dangerous, as his music raised a consciousness that could create social change. The following excerpt of music is from his song War and is based off of Emperor Haile Selassie's address to the UN in 1963. Katherine Dunham was a dancer, anthropologist, and activist that was an American, and while doing fieldwork in the Caribbean, fell in love with Haiti during her first visit in 1936. She dedicated herself to finding the intersections between dance, social activism, and anthropology. Apart from her time studying voodoo in Haiti, she toured the world with her dance troupe, the Katherine Dunham Company. She experienced discrimination in various places. However, during her visit to Brazil in 1950, she was refused entrance to a hotel based on her race, and she made sure the incident made it to the Brazilian press. Thanks to her candidness, the Afonso Arinos Law was passed 1 year later that made racial discrimination in public places a felony in Brazil. In the 1950s, she created a protest ballet called Southland, which spoke about the horrors of racism and of a lynching. This performance was only staged twice, in Chile and France. Much like the song Strange Fruit, performed by Billie Holiday, which is also about a lynching, they elicited responses that ranged from immense praise to censorship and backlash. This is a video of her performance of the ballet Haitian Storm. Her activism didn't stop when she reached old age. At age 83, she went on a 47-day hunger strike, protesting the discriminatory U.S. foreign policy against Haitian boat people. An excerpt from the foreword of Katherine Dunham's book, Dances of Haiti, states how artistic works show a culture which has been transplanted, quote, has proven capable of retaining its cohesive force while gaining freedom through the existence and vitality of its beliefs and rights. This holds true for both Dunham's and Marley's expression of Pan-Africanism. Katherine Dunham writes, quote, for a thorough scientific field study, no one single trait may be removed from a cultural matrix. To know the dances of Haiti, the life surrounding the dances must be known. The same is true for these two prominent figures. In order to fully understand them, we must understand the countries which nurtured them. Bob Marley's story is not complete without talking about the history of Jamaica. In short, destruction came with the arrival of Columbus and the Spanish conquest, which within 50 years wiped out the entire indigenous population. Africans were brought to Jamaica as slaves, and in 1655 the British took over and slavery continued. However, a small amount of Africans fled to the mountains, which they called Maroons, and resisted the British until the Treaty of 1737, and later the abolition of slavery in 1838. Jamaica was still under British control, and liberty had not been met. So in 1865, the Morant Bay Rebellion happened, which was an uprising among ex-slaves and different rebellions, which then led to Jamaican independence from the British government in 1962. Some of the history of Haiti might sound redundant to that of Jamaica, and that cannot be overlooked. Once again, the invasion of Columbus wiped out the peaceful indigenous people within a few decades, and the slave trade was established. French came and colonized Haiti, and the mistreatment of Africans was augmented. Out of the slaves' inner strength that would not be killed by the extreme pain and suffering at the hands of the slave owners, voodoo emerged and united everyone, calling for a slave rebellion. It was unstoppable. Haitian Revolution ended in 1804, and Haiti became the first Black republic of the world. However, freedom did not mean peace. In her book, Island Possessed, Katherine Dunham wrote, quote, "With the Haitians' freedom from the French and therefore any colonial domain, the hatred which has served as a unifying force of tribes and nations scarcely able to communicate with each other turned inward into the country itself, ellipses. The ambivalence of these groups may account for the continuous unrest of the country, a personality separation which some psychologists are inclined to call a national psychosis." Shade discrimination was also very prominent in Jamaica, as Bob Marley experienced it growing up as a kid, as he was the son of a white man and a Black woman. Both turned their feelings about not fitting in into a creative expression and found unity within the groups of the country they loved. Bob Marley's way of reconciling with his DNA was becoming a Rastafarian and being dedicated to the Pan-African movement. Katherine Dunham was an outsider to Haiti, but through her dedication and passion, she was baptized as a Mambo Asegu, which is the highest degree of Rada Dahomey voodoo. Drumming and dancing is a way to come in contact with the Loa. In her book Dances of Haiti, she writes that there is a group of dance, representative or symbolic, which indicates the presence of the Loa in the individual. In other words, it is the Loa that dances, not the individual. The person possessed has no recollection of his conduct or motor expressions while under possession. Nevertheless, both dance and behavior are according to formula, so much so that an outsider, after frequenting the dance, can determine almost readily as an official which Loa has entered. Dunham speaks about the equalizing effects of Carnival season. Quote, "During Carnival season, the entire population is released from moral and civic obligations, and the diverse social, economic, and religious groups become closely united in a single mass activity. During this time, the Haitian peasant experiences the widest range of partial integration that he is likely to realize during the entire year." Katherine Dunham writes, "Fundamental purpose of prayer is release from emotional conflict by an establishment of contact with some superior being, or by a complete externalization and loss of one's ego and that of the essence or being with whom the communion is desired. Igbo is the dance of liberty. It is taking your freedom, not asking for it. Dance is also a way to heal the body and mind. This is called opanuje. We sing to the floor because that's where the Loa, the gods, are located. The sickness is shaked off and banished from the body. Finally, freedom from all the ills of life has been gained, and it is a celebration of healing ourselves." Bob Marley and Katherine Dunham taught us history and healing through dance and music, and created a vaster and more complete image of humanity. Their legacy lives on. Katherine Dunham founded the Performing Arts Training Center, which gives underprivileged youth in St. Louis, Missouri, an opportunity to have an arts education. Similarly, the mission of the Bob Marley Foundation is to positively impact those around them with education, culture, healthcare, and sustainable development while enacting long-lasting change with one love, one heart, one voice. Priceless teachings of history and culture were not lost thanks to these two great figures. They made history and helping shape a world where there is no racism or inequality and education for all.